What up, YouTube? Yobachi 2007. I got 3 things for you today. So you may have heard about Rick Wagner at GM. No, not Robert Wagner. Rick Wagner, GM CEO, was forced to resign earlier this week by the Obama administration in order for GM to still be able to get further bailout money that they're needing to keep their operations afloat. Yes, blackmail. That's what we need to get this economy back on track. Let's blackmail more people at the top and get them out of the way. Sounds good to me. Now, in the article I was reading about him leaving there, which just mentioned before I get to the article, since Wagner's been there, all he's done is basically lost billions of dollars, continual losses almost every quarter. They've had a few gains, but they've had continual losses of extraordinary amounts of money. And in this article I was reading today about Wagner leaving, it says he's being replaced by GM's president and chief operating officer, Fritz Henderson. Wait a minute. So the guy who was over the operations of GM, which operates very inefficiently and ineffectively, the guy who was over all that while they were losing tons of money is going to step into his place. Great. Nice upgrade. That's going to be helpful. Just go from one louse who was responsible to the other louse that was responsible. Okay, well, anyway, I think this is still pretty good trek to go down. They got rid of AIG's president at the beginning of the year, and so I think we just need to get rid of every CEO on Wall Street, and that'll at least be a decent start. Won't solve all the problems, but hey, that's a way to go. So speaking of the Obama administration, our president is in London this week, left today for London for the G-20 summit, economic summit of some of the largest economies in the world coming together to discuss how we're going to get out of this global financial crisis. And so Obama's been getting some blowback from a few people around the world, and he's looking after the budget we just passed, the omnibus bill, to get us through the rest of 2009, which was another $450 billion just for the rest of the year. For next year's budget, Obama is proposing $355 trillion. Okay, last year's total budget, including that $450 billion omnibus bill, was $3.1 billion. At some point, we had the $800 billion package back in October. We had this $900 billion stimulus bill at the beginning of this year. Now we're going to increase the total budget next year. At what point do we start cutting back on something? I mean, it's constantly more spending on top of more spending, but you got to have, you got to have some spending at first. You got to get things jump started. Got it. At some point, I think we need to start cutting back. We only have a record deficit that's going to keep increasing. So, Brazil's president, in his blowback about Obama wanting all the countries across the world, all the major economies across the world, to go along with his ideal of having sort of another New Deal and everybody ramping up spending to get the economy going. Different world leaders have had different things to say about it. Brazil's president says it's white folks' fault that we're having this world crisis. Yes, he did say that. German Chancellor Angela Merkel says no one's going to tell her how to spend her money. And even French President Sarkozy doesn't think spending unfettered gobs of money is the way to go. Dude, when France thinks you're spending too much money, you're spending too much money. And in this week's segment of stupid people doing stupid things, I actually haven't been calling that, but it would apply like to the people I talked about last week who kept blowing the same stop sign, drunk, and running into the same house over and over again. And that tool who let his kids walk in the snow till they froze to death on Christmas Day. Or you could say that about Octomom every week as far as stupid people doing stupid things. So maybe I should start making that a titled segment in some of my videos. But anyway, for this week's installment, we have April Clement, who faked the robbery in her own home of the Raleigh-Durham part of North Carolina. And so she had rented some rent-to-own of some different items, furniture and electronic equipment, and she didn't want to turn it back in when she couldn't afford it anymore. So she removed big screen TV and stereo and all these other items from her house and then called it in as a robbery. Thought she was going to get away with it. The one problem is, see, stupid people don't think, so they assume other people don't think. So they think they can tell people anything and they're just going to believe it. The problem is, things that seem rational to stupid people aren't rational to intelligent people. So you just can't tell them anything and they're going to believe it. But stupid people think they can always just say anything and other folks are going to fall in line with it and just believe it. She probably is one of those people who broke the glass out from the inside of the house and was too dumb to know that that's obvious that it's from the inside and not being broken in from the outside. So she's probably one of those idiots who did something that was that dumb to make it obvious. The article didn't say how the police figured out that she was lying, but she's now been arrested, and I couldn't be happier. Well, that's all I got for you today. Yobachi 2007. Hey, if you enjoy my videos, definitely subscribe, comment to me back at what you think about GM's president being taken out, what you think about the spending and whether or not we need a world new deal as Obama's kind of proposing, or have we got enough jumpstart spending? It's time to start cutting back so we can start cutting back on the deficit. And, you can't really live off of, in my opinion, you can't continuously live off of deficit spending. So we got some upfront money in. Maybe it's time to pull back. What do you think? All right, Yobachi again, 2007. I'm out. Peace.